The night was alive with pulsating rhythms, neon lights, and the palpable energy of the city's most infamous nightclub, Eclipse. As I entered through the imposing black doors, the bass reverberated through my body, and I was instantly swept into the chaotic throng of dancing bodies. The night was promising to be a wild one, and I was ready to let loose and forget my mundane life. I had come to Eclipse to escape, to forget about the stress of work and the monotony of my daily routine. My friends, Mark and Lisa, had convinced me to join them, assuring me it would be a night I'd never forget. As I navigated through the crowd, the kaleidoscope of lights and the pounding music were like a hypnotic spell. The night was in full swing, and it was a sensory overload of sights and sounds. Dancers gyrated under the dazzling light show, their faces hidden in the shadows, while the DJ worked his magic at the center of it all. It was easy to lose yourself in the chaos, and that's exactly what I intended to do. After hours of dancing and drinks, I needed a break from the pulsating beats. I made my way to the bar and ordered a glass of water, trying to regain my composure. As I sipped my drink, I noticed a woman sitting alone at the far end of the bar. She was unlike anyone I had ever seen in Eclipse, and I couldn't take my eyes off her. She had an air of mystery about her, with long, flowing hair that shimmered like silk in the neon light. Her eyes were a piercing blue, and her lips, painted a deep shade of crimson, held a hint of a seductive smile. Feeling drawn to her, I decided to approach and strike up a conversation. As I neared her, I noticed that she was toying with a delicate silver necklace, twirling it between her fingers. It had a peculiar pendant and intricate design that resembled a crescent moon. "Mind if I join you?" I asked, mustering all the confidence I could gather. She looked up, her eyes locking onto mine, and nodded with a subtle smile. "Please, have a seat." We exchanged pleasantries, and I learned her name was Elena. She had an accent, one I couldn't quite place, and she spoke with a soft and captivating voice. Our conversation flowed effortlessly, and I found myself enchanted by her every word. Elena told me she was new to the city, having recently moved here for a job opportunity. She seemed out of place in the nightclub scene, her elegance and grace contrasting sharply with the chaotic surroundings. As the night wore on, our connection deepened, and I couldn't help but feel a magnetic pull toward her. Hours passed in the blink of an eye, and before I knew it, it was closing time. The lights dimmed, the music faded, and the dancers reluctantly dispersed. Elena and I found ourselves in the street, the cold night air a stark contrast to the heat of the club. "I had a great time tonight," I said, feeling a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "Would you like to do this again sometime?" Elena's smile widened and she nodded. "I would love that." We exchanged numbers, and with a lingering glance, she hailed a cab and disappeared into the night. I watched the taxi's taillights fade into the distance, feeling a sense of exhilaration that eclipsed any high I had experienced that night. In the days that followed, Elena and I grew closer, our connection deepening with each passing conversation. We met for dinners, strolled through the city's parks, and shared secrets and dreams. It felt like the beginning of something extraordinary, a love story straight out of a romance novel. But as the weeks went by, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something unusual about Elena, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. She had an air of mystery that only seemed to deepen the more I got to know her. And then one fateful night, that mystery would unravel, revealing a chilling truth. Elena invited me to her apartment, a lavish penthouse overlooking the city skyline. It was a place of opulence and grandeur, a world far removed from my own. As we settled into her luxurious living room, she handed me a glass of wine, her eyes gleaming with an unusual intensity. "I have something to tell you," she said, her voice quivering with anticipation. I set down my glass, my curiosity piqued. "What is it?" Elena took a deep breath, and her words sent a shiver down my spine. I'm not what I seem, and I've been keeping a secret from you." My heart pounded as I waited for her to continue. What could this secret possibly be? My mind raced with possibilities, none of which could prepare me for what she was about to reveal. "I'm not human," she confessed, her eyes never leaving mine. "I'm a creature of the night, a vampire." I stared at her in disbelief, convinced that she was joking or perhaps had lost her sanity. But there was a seriousness in her gaze, a chilling conviction that made my blood run cold. As if to prove her point, Elena's eyes began to change, the piercing blue fading into an eerie crimson. She rose from her seat, her movements fluid and otherworldly, and stepped closer to me. "I've been alive for centuries," she continued, "but I've never met anyone like you. You've awakened something in me, a desire for a different kind of existence." I couldn't move, couldn't speak as I watched her approach. It was as if I were in the midst of a nightmare, one from which there was no escape. Elena's face drew closer, her eyes locking onto mine with a hunger that was both terrifying and mesmerizing. And then, with a sudden and unexpected gentleness, she kissed me, her lips cold as ice. In that moment, I felt a sensation unlike anything I had ever experienced, a strange mingling of pleasure and fear, desire and dread. It was as if I were caught in a web of enchantment, unable to resist her allure. But just as quickly as it had begun, Elena pulled away, her eyes returning to their piercing blue. She looked at me with a mixture of sadness and longing. "I have to go," she said, her voice filled with regret. "I can't be with you, not like this." And with that, she disappeared into the night, leaving me alone and bewildered in her lavish penthouse. As the days turned into weeks, I couldn't shake the memory of that fateful night. The night I had encountered a vampire in human guise. I knew I should have been terrified, should have run as far and as fast as I could. But I couldn't forget the connection we had shared, the undeniable chemistry that had drawn us together. And then, one evening, I received a letter from Elena, a letter that would reveal the true nature of our connection and the shocking twist that would change everything. In the letter, Elena confessed that she had been drawn to me not by chance but by design. She was part of an ancient order of vampires, tasked with finding humans who possessed a unique quality, a quality that would allow them to become immortal and join the ranks of the undead. Don't forget to subscribe for Chapter 2.